please welcome to the stage my good friend Ricardo with Bien.
We beat to rap, what he beat to lock, but I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that.
What's happening, everybody?
I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that.
All right, hope everyone is doing well. So first off, I want to give a big shout out to Ashley, to Marin, to Corey, and to Mac and Dash Bash. Yeah, so this is actually my first motion design conference ever. Like, I haven't attended one, period. So feeling this love, seeing this crowd, meeting all these people that I have met before online, it's just been incredible. So like the energy here in this room today is like, I can't believe it, it's unbelievable. So for my talk, I want to attempt to answer the question, is cool enough? Right, we all want to do cool stuff. We love images, it's a visual industry. But I want to know, is cool enough? So before we get into the talk, I'm a curious dude. So I want to know a little bit about the audience here today. So who's a freelancer here? Raise your hand. Okay. Who works at a studio? All right. What about a company or a brand? Okay, cool. All right. If you are male, raise your hand. Females. Oh, nice, nice. What about female studio owners? Yeah. Nice. Yeah. All right, cool. That's good, that's good, that's good. All right, so I want to give you a little background, just talk about my journey a little bit, right? So I'm originally from Ecuador. And my family immigrated to the United States when I was just about to start kindergarten. And of all places, we moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. So this is my hometown, and it's so good to be back. It's so good to see everyone here and just to be outside, to feel that humidity. Damn, it's no joke. But when I moved here, Raleigh was a very different place, right? I moved here in the early 80s. And I moved here without knowing English. So I didn't speak any English at all, period. So I was dropped literally into kindergarten. I went to a public school on the south side of Raleigh without being able to learn. There was no ESL program or anything like that. And so it was really difficult. Like, it was a big struggle, right? To like adapt and to be able to make friends and adapt to a new world and a new culture. And so I struggled like a lot. Eventually, over time, things got better, but elementary school, middle school, high school, man, it was tough. It was tough for me. In fact, this is me in 9th grade. And my best friend, David. So this is at Enloe High School here in Raleigh. And you can see the picture, like, these guys are probably up to no good, to be honest, especially the person on the right. That was me. And so I'll never forget this. My first report card in high school, my first report card, I brought it home to my mom. I was like, oh, here's a report card. First line, F. Second line, F. F, 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 F. I got straight Fs. It was crazy. And my mom was so pissed, like, she was so pissed. And she said, I can't take this anymore. And she kicked me the fuck out of the house. She kicked me out, and she said, you're going to live with your dad. So I moved in to this apartment building. This is the one. It's about 5 minutes down the street from here. And I moved into a 1-bedroom apartment with my father. So we had to share the same bedroom. And I was like 14 or 15, awkward. Like, that was my reality. Like, that's what I had to deal with. And miraculously, my dad was very strict. So thank him for that. He was super strict. I hated him at the time, but he was so strict, he made me get my shit together. And I graduated high school. A lot of my friends did not graduate high school. After that, I was able to go to college, which is something that I never ever thought that I was going to be able to do. I couldn't afford it, but I got some grants, I got some loans. I did not get a scholarship based on my grades, but I was able to go to college. So I went to Full Sail down in Orlando, okay, and I studied 3D animation. And I was so excited. I went to school. I was the biggest nerd in the class. All I did, because I was paying for it. So I came back to Raleigh. I was hyped. I was like ready to work. And I started looking for jobs. So I go knock on one door. Nah. Knock on another door. Nah. Knock on another door. Slam, slam, slam. All these doors just keep slamming in my face. So it was just rejection after rejection. I could not find a job. So what I ended up doing was I became a pizza delivery driver. Yeah, because I had to pay bills. I had to get my student loans deferred. But I kind of like being a delivery boy. It was kind of fun, to be honest. It was one of my favorite jobs ever. So that wasn't bad, but I did that for about a year. And then finally, I got an interview at this local production company called Myriad. And they called me in, did an interview, and man, they called me back and they said, hey, we're gonna offer you an internship. So it was like amazing. And it was funny because my portfolio was trash. I was a terrible animator, but they just saw something in me, like something, and they saw maybe some potential, so they gave me a shot. So I'm telling you all of this stuff, all this background, because really what I'm talking about today is about the importance of giving people a chance. Like that's what it is, really. Giving people a chance, right? Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about Bien. And first I gotta say, yes, there's something missing in this picture, because you were supposed to get me and my business partner, Hung. So Hung could not make it today. He's not feeling well, dealing with a bad cough. So he says hello, and unfortunately, you just get me. So Hung and I started Bien in 2017, and Bien is the inclusive motion design studio. And this is a methodology that we created when we started the studio about 5.5 years ago. So we kind of made it, like we're established, thankfully. But we do 2D, 3D cell animation. But why we do it and how we do it, that's why we're different. Basically, our whole goal, our mission, our why, is we want to make this industry more diverse. That's why we exist. That's what keeps me. That's what keeps me getting out of bed every morning, is because we want to make the industry more diverse. So what the hell is inclusive motion design, or MOD for short? Before I get into that, I have a question for the room. So I'm curious if you know, who is the world's largest minority group? Anybody, just take a guess, just yell it out loud. Who's the world's largest minority group? Don't be shy.
Is it going to be women?
Good guess. All right. It's people with disabilities. That's the world's largest minority group. And it's kind of surprising, right? Because as soon as I ask that question, your mind is conditioned to automatically go to race or ethnicity. But diversity is so much more than that. There's so much more than that. So I'm going to talk about the 2 pillars of MOD. So number 1 is representation. So that's the idea that a diverse team behind the scenes is what allows you to create inclusive content on the screen. So that is the idea of design with, not for. Design with, not for, that's a very important concept. And then number two is accessibility. Because of what we just learned earlier, people with some form of disability make up 15% of the world's population. So that is 1 billion people. So when we design, when we create, we have to do it with them in mind. So this is a quote that we love from Keith Haring. I am not a beginning. I am not an end. I am a link in a chain. And the people on Team Bien, those are the various chain links. And each one of us, we do things differently in our own way, but the cumulative effort is tangible and it's measurable. So this is how we chain link. Education. These are some of the various initiatives that we're doing right now. Inclusive motion design. Lots of stuff going on. Resourcing. And then accountability. And this is one of the most important things because you cannot change, you cannot improve what you do not measure. And if you're not measuring things, if you don't have a baseline or you don't have numbers and things to go back to and look on and measure forward progression, guess what? It's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And we're calling out people in the industry. That's all you do, a bunch of talk. But we want to see action. That's what we're about, is action. Yeah. Yeah. So under education, I want to talk about something that we announced about a month ago with the School of Motion. In conjunction with them, we're offering scholarships to 8 underrepresented motion designers. And I want to give a big shout out to Brittany. Where's Brittany? Don't be shy. Brittany is the one that put in the hard effort to make this happen. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Brittany. And it's not, it's not just mentorship. It's also, sorry, it's not just a scholarship. It's mentorship as well. We're putting in time and energy to help these new designers break into the industry. Because it's not enough to know about the software or how to execute. We have to make new people in this industry feel welcome, give them a sense of belonging, right? Because I feel like people from all walks of life belong in this amazing industry, right? So I really believe that, so that's the deal with the mentorship and the scholarship. And we've talked about mentorship here, it's very, very important. So for inclusive motion design, I want to introduce you to David Jeffers. David is our disability consultant. He's also our sound designer. He's our go-to sound designer. Now, David is not exclusive to Bien. He also has his company, Quadraphonic Sound. So if you're a studio owner, you work at a shop somewhere, hire David. He's amazing. Now, David is supposed to be here today. He's supposed to be sitting right there. See those blue seats where it says reserved? That's David's seat. He's quadriplegic. He couldn't make it today because of various challenges of getting here. He actually drives. I mean, this dude is incredible. He drives a van. He can move his arms. This is what he can do. That's it. But he drives his van, and he bought his ticket, he bought his hotel room, but due to challenges, he could not make it today. So I just want to give a big shout out to David. And yes, he's the gentleman that was with me when I was in 9th grade. Yeah. And that's why if you received the message from David saying, hey, I want to meet you, and he's not here today, that's why. So hire David. So inclusive resourcing. This is at the heart of everything that we do. This is like basically our DNA, is making sure that our teams are inclusive. And this is Vanessa. She is our full-time resource manager. So if you're a freelancer here, this is the person you want to hit up. And her email address is vanessa@thisisbn.com. So please hit her up. Now, Vanessa is always intentional to make sure that the teams that she puts together are reflective of the audience for any given project, and that there's equity and that there's equality on those teams. And if the team doesn't reflect the audience, what do? We hire a consultant, design with, not for. That's the motto. Yeah. And we also have an initiative where we bring on junior BIPOC designers or talent. It's called Double the Line. So we take a bid and we double a line item on that bid. So we have a senior designer, we bring on a junior designer, and this comes out of either our profit or the client, depending on if they're willing to, spend a little more. But we bring on that junior designer so that they can shadow the senior. So they get all this experience. We bring them on to a big project, a big studio, and they get all this great experience. But that's not the most important part. The most important part about Double the Line is we help these junior BIPOC designers build their portfolio. Because in this industry, everyone here knows you can't get the work unless you have the work. But how do you get the work to get the work, right? So that's what we're trying to solve with Double the Line. So under accountability, this is an amazing initiative that was created wholly by Alicia Kramer. Where's Alicia? Raise your hand. Give her a round of applause. This is Alicia's initiative. And when we first started the studio, our goal was to include one diversity attribute per job. That was the goal. If we could just do one thing to make it more inclusive. But since starting this initiative, you can see all of these different things that we're doing. This is a Milanote board where we document all of the different types of inclusion and diversity attributes in a project. And as a studio, we all contribute to this list. So it's very easy for us to just say, okay, we've done this 5 times. Let's innovate and try something new. So I want to take a look at some of the examples from this. So this one is about centering people with disabilities, right? If you see all the people in this frame, they're front and center. They're strong. They are leading teams, right? They're not just kind of stuck in the background, like, oh, let's put someone in a wheelchair. No. They're not an afterthought. Put them front and center. Incorporate people with vitiligo in your work. We want to see more LGBTQ+ representation. And this is just an example of just more diversity in general. So if you look at the gentleman on the right, cradling the baby, you don't see this type of imagery in mass media very often, or probably never in motion design. Also, don't be ageist. Grandma, she's one of our clients' favorite characters that we've ever created. And she's beautiful. I mean, look, right? So all these examples are just the various ways that you can incorporate diversity. And I want everyone to steal some of these ideas, be inspired by these ideas. They're not ours to hold. We want to spread them throughout this industry. It's very easy to go the extra step, the extra mile to increase diversity and representation in your work. So this is what a lot of people do, right? They take a base model. Usually that base model is based on European beauty standards. You take that model, you add a drop of color, a little darker skin tone, boom, diversity achieved, right? So I'm gonna take a page from Michaela's presentation yesterday. I wish I had a big screen that said, nah, that's not it. That's not cutting it. So This is an example of real beauty, true beauty, natural, authentic beauty. And this is what we need to celebrate in our work. Celebrate our differences, don't hide them, because diversity is more than a drop of color. Noses. Noses. So we see so many talented illustrators hit us up, and they only draw one type of nose, the Roman nose. But what about all the other billions and billions of types of noses out there, right? These little small details, they matter, right? They matter for people looking at the work and looking at what the work results in on screen. They matter so much. And all of these beautiful noses, they come from a book called Drawing People by Jemana Medlij. She's a Lebanese illustrator. Go buy this book, Drawing People. It's full of tips. It's worth the money for sure. And then here's just another example of just beautiful diversity. So I know a lot of people are thinking, well, what if I'm not an illustrator? How can I incorporate these things into my work? Don't worry. These are some things that you can be in right now. So you can use typefaces by underrepresented type designers. Yeah. And these are 4 by Marconi Lima. They're fresh, they're awesome. Go out, intentionally seek these people out, find them, support them, give them opportunity. This guy's an amazing typeface designer. He just doesn't have the spotlight. But we have the power to go give him a chance and support him. And there's many others out there. Check your work for accessibility. So there's a really cool tool that'll help you do this. It's called Adobe Color. Search it up, go find it. It's out there, it's easy. It's kind of fun to use, honestly. I like doing it. And what this tool will do was it will make sure that your work is ADA compliant in terms of color, contrast, and legibility. Now, the secret is clients love this stuff. They love it because you're teaching them something. You're bringing value. It makes their projects more successful because their projects are more accessible to more people because of this little tool. So it's like a little secret thing. Other designers in motion design don't use this tool. They use it in UX, UI all the time. Not motion design though. I don't know why. And then finally, mentor someone. We talked a lot. Yeah. We talked a lot about mentorship here at the conference, and it's so important. So I want everyone to go out, find someone, tell them, hey, can I mentor you? It's not gonna be weird. It's not gonna be awkward. They're gonna love it. If you approach someone like that, they will absolutely love it. And it doesn't have to be the super formal thing, right? It can be, a phone call a month, a Slack message here, an email here. It's all up to you. If you're the mentor, right? You make the rules. So here's an example from our team. This is Andrea. He's a 3D artist. He is mentoring Ksenia, who is a recent Hyper Island grad. Now, here's the secret. The cool thing is both of them benefit from this. It's not just the mentee, because the mentor has to organize their thoughts, right? They have to be able to articulate concepts to people. And it's like that saying where you have to learn to teach. So this strengthens your skill set as a senior creative. And then Ksenia, she gets access to the years and years of hard-fought, hard-won industry information you can only get from being on a job. And she gets access to his network, which is another huge, huge part of this. Networks, relationships, that's what this business is built on, right? So I know that in this audience today, there's a lot of Andreas and Ksenias. So what I want everyone to do is, if you're a junior designer, raise your hand. Okay. What about mid-level designers? People who have been working, say, 3 to 6 years, something like that? Raise your hand. Okay. And then all the senior designers in the room. Okay. All right. Well, now you know who is who. When we go on this break, I want everyone to connect. Make that connection happen. Become a mentor or a mentee. That's what this conference is all about. It's about community, and that's why I love what Dash is doing so much, because it's building community through all of us. So, as I mentioned earlier, I was lucky. I've had a lot of mentors in the past here. One of them is sitting right here, that guy right there, Josh. You mentored me, and I'm appreciative of it. And I always think about other people, people that are just starting in the field. And I wonder about people out here today, like who out here is sort of struggling, who's sort of feeling down on their luck. Maybe their self-esteem is flagging a little bit, right? I want everyone here to take some of these ideas that I've shared today and go act. I want you to share your expertise. I want you to extend a hand. Give someone a chance. Because I'll go back to the question, is cool enough? What do you think? Is cool enough? Nah. I need the slide. But you know what is cool? Social impact. That's cool. That's cool. And making our industry more diverse and more creative, that's cool. And also, making your own work and your own career more meaningful, that's really fucking cool. And that is it. Thank you, everybody.